Hiya guys, and welcome to this video tour of my Maltron keyboard. I found this for £1 at the recycling centre, but by the time you watch this video, I will have long sold it. This was a pretty good find because these boards are not cheap at all, and it's in very good nick as well. Like my Industrial Model M keyboard video, this is going to be slightly more improvised than the usual video, so bear with me a little bit. These boards are a kind of 3D ergonomic design. So it's got this kind of weird cavity here, and I think you're supposed to type like this or something. I've been told it's laid out in Dvorak, but it sends normal scan code, so I think somebody just swapped the keycaps into a Dvorak layout. The keycaps are all the same profile anyway, so you can just put them wherever you want, really. Now, this kind of layout and shape is absolutely beyond my comprehension, so I figured it wouldn't really make sense for me to make a review on this because I can't really use it, so what's the point? The keyboard itself is fully functional though. It works over USB and it works just fine. It's got as many as 5 lock lights. One yellow one, I think that just means that it's on. 3 to the right here, which are just the lock lights, and one to the left here, but I've no idea what that's for. The keycaps are a kind of fairly thick lasered ABS. They don't look too bad, and like I said, they're all the same profile, and in fact they are spherical. They're not cylindrical like most modern keycaps are. It uses Cherry MX black switches, one of my least favorite linear switches. I've already reviewed these. I think they're too heavy and they're quite scratchy as well, so I don't really like them. The 2 little clusters at the bottom here do all kinds of weird things, mostly navigation commands like page up, page down, home, end. That's actually a tab key, and that key is apparently the spacebar. Probably the smallest spacebar I've ever seen. And then on the other side, we've got the arrow keys, return, and another spacebar, delete button. Got a few media buttons on it, and here is the operating system key, which I guess is the command key on Apple computers and the Windows key on Windows computers. The keyboard is really tall, but it's also very, very light. It's super hollow. I mean, I can easily lift it or even flip it with just one hand. It weighs almost nothing, and this is because it's made out of a very thin shell of plastic. Somebody mentioned that it might have been vacuum formed, which I guess is a clever idea to do, but in terms of build construction, I mean, it's essentially a monocoque. Here is the model sticker of the keyboard. Interestingly, it's got serial number 11111, and I'm not really sure what the actual model number is, whether it's this huge thing or that huge thing or something related to this, but it doesn't really matter. It's just the Maltron keyboard. And then here we have 2 switches. Both of these switches have 2 positions, but I have no idea what the bloody hell they could ever do. It's got 2 small translucent feet on it, nothing flip out. And here you can see the thickness of the shell. It really is very, very thin indeed. Here's the back panel of the keyboard. It's very thin plastic, weighs almost nothing. And here is some writing on it. It shows the same serial number. Tested 12/8/2010, so it's probably not all that old. And then here we have the insides of the keyboard, and as you can notice, they're actually hand wired. There's this purple stuff that's all hand wired to the keys, which to me suggests that the keyboard is actually handmade, and that would explain its price, because new these keyboards cost around £450, which is quite a lot. I mean, Jesus, for such a thin shell with just a few switches in it and fairly cheap keycaps, I mean, that's a lot of money. And then here we have the PCB. Surprisingly few controllers on it. Maybe they're on the other side or something, I'm not really sure, but it looks quite empty actually. I mean, old controllers have lots of stuff going on in there, but this just has this surface mount thing and these 4 small things in here. It's got a quite long ribbon connector here, and a whole bunch of what appears to be resistors or something. But other than that, there's not too much to see on this keyboard. There's also some writing on the PCB here, handwriting again. Probably has something to do with the model or when it was tested. The thin plastic rim appears to be hand glued to the outside casing as well. They use some kind of quite dirty, apparently, gluing-like material, but I guess it holds together. More traces of hand gluing here on this rim. To the side, you might be able to see it here as well. It's not the most elegant, really. Here is what appears to be a cable retainer screwed into it. I guess it works fine. Well, that's it for this video tour of my Maltron keyboard. Of the money that this will fetch, I'll probably buy a couple of extra keyboards. Some of them might already have been reviewed by the time you see this, as a matter of fact. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video tour, and see you again next time.